Hi all, very good afternoon. How are you?
Hello, good afternoon.
Hi, sir. Good afternoon.
Yes. Welcome to the bootcamp of Spring Boot with AI. And yesterday, if I'll give you a small recap, what are we trying to build? So, security, JWT, we have a good discussion about the topic. And then we started at like, what are we going to do for this expense approval system, right? Or expense management system. Anything is fine. So there we have first created a domain model where you saw like how initially if we are as a developer or as an architect or as a manager, how we are trying to build it before starting the actual LLD, that is low level design. So this is the domain model we were expecting. So this is, I would say, it falls under the category of high level design. Like what will the app user will use, expense will use, description will use. If you more want on this, then whatever the ID we will use, so that will be private. So I would say my ID will be private, so this will be minus. Email will be private, this will be minus. Password will be private, this will be minus. So if anything is private, so it will denote by minus, or if anything is public, it will be denoted by plus. So this is, if you are studying about the UML diagram, you will get to know how we are trying to build this. But that is another, I would say, uh, topic that we should not discuss as of now. But yes, what I will try to build once we are clear with this expense approval system, expense management application, then we will try to. I'll just give you how you can deal or you can tell about this whole system in the form of system design. Okay, in a depth, not like this. This will be there, but in a depth form. So next week, Sunday, I'll try to give you a good exposure over system design so that this particular applications that we are trying to cover will be completed. Okay. So let's start. So domain model is clear. Then what are the APIs we are trying to build? And I told you this time we are not using Timely for the front end. Everything will be from the back end. So we will get to know like how particular Postman works or from the back end, how the particular APIs are working. But if you are interested, I'll share the code snippet once this particular application get completed. So you can, what you can do, you can create a front end by the help of Timely for any template engine. It's up to you if you want to integrate it. That totally up to you guys. Okay. But main agenda is Spring Boot, so we will stick on that part. Perfect. So that is all about this, and we have discussed about the API. Now, if we want to discuss it today, so today is 5th of July, so I'll mark it as like 5th of July. And everything I'm covering in week 3 class 1, because so that you can get to know what are the things we are discussing it over here. So same rule as week 1, week 2, we call Grok from Java. So Grok, I told you right again, like if you want free LLM, so this I will get deleted. Don't worry if you are watching my key. So if you want your LLM, free LLM, Grok is the best website as you could see over here. What you can do, you simply create an API key, name anything, everything is fine. After that, copy this and put it inside your .env file, or keep it somewhere else so that when we will try to create the project structure, you can embed it that. So the first thing is Grok is the API key for the LLM we are using, and we will try to use Spring AI chat client. We don't train model. AI is a service inside our Spring app. Okay. AI is a service inside our Spring app. That should be crystal clear for you. Okay. Now, for this bootcamp project, we have this EMS, employee management system, where grid onboarding and L search will try to give, just like we started completed in week 1, week 2. And then we will see if time allows, like RAG, how we will implement the RAG as well. RAG is also important feature of the AI. So I'll try to implement the RAG as well. It totally depends on the product structure, how it's going to be built. So yes, that is the first thing. Then expense AI roadmap, because yesterday we were discussing about all the things, right? That how the particular AI works. Sorry, how the API will work. But we didn't discuss about the AI. What is the role of, if I say Spring Boot with AI? So what is the meaning of AI? You should explain, and that is the correct. So if I write like expense, we'll try to use the AI inside the expense. So I will say expense AI roadmap. Okay, I'll change the color. This will be our expense AI roadmap. And the feature, if I need to tell you the feature, what are we trying to build? What AI does that? AI does that. So the first thing is auto categorization. The feature is it will try to auto categorize the thing. So auto categorization. Okay, and how AI will does? AI does that like travel slash food slash software, then your equipments, whatever the equipments you have, plus description. This is the what AI does. That's the first thing. Second thing is fraud flagging. That will be a best thing. Guardrails or something we'll try to implement. I'll let you know. So there will have the duplicates. It will find the duplicates, unusual amount, unusual amounts. Then policy. If there is any policy we have written, the policy violation. This is also we are trying to identify. So it will fall under fraud flagging. That's the first, second, and the last one. What are we building is manager summary. That is very important. So manager, if manager is busy, very busy, he can summarize all the things with the help of AI. So it will be like 3 to 4 line, 3 line plain, I would say English, pending approvals, where we will use inside your pending approvals. Okay, that's the three things we are trying to use for this AI. I hope so. It's clear to everyone. It's clear to everyone.
Yes.
Okay, perfect. So again, if as a beginner, now the real gig has started, guys. Please focus. Give me a minute. Just I'm getting on call. Give me a minute. Yeah, sorry. Okay, so now the real gig has started, right? So what you need to do and how we will do it is very easy. We will follow this pattern. So your Java code, how you will start in your life as well. Once this boot camp will be over, so you should be remember whatever we are trying to discuss it over here. So whatever the Java code you are writing, the first thing it will go towards our chat client, and this chat client will call our API. So Grok API. So this is for the AI, how AI model will work. And we are using this Llama model. If we are using the free Grok chat API key, so it will provide my Llama model versatility something. Then it will back us our JSON, so JSON back. Okay. And it is going to update the expense entity. Update expense entity, right? So today we will see domain plus JWT and structured JSON output plus async AI call. Okay, I'll let you know what is async AI, but just see how async AI calls is going to work. This is we are also going to discuss. If someone knows, that's fine. If not, then we will see. So And the thought is basically AI is a tool inside our Spring application, not a separate magic layer. Topic 3, we will start now. So all you need to do is, if I go back to our code, so this is our week 4 expense approval. Nothing you need to do. You need to create a folder if you want to start parallelly with me. That new folder will be week 4 expense approval. That's all. Fresh project, do not copy anything. Just start with this. Okay. So again, employee, if we talk about the employees, the employee can access two things: post get, manager can do three things: patch, approve, patch, reject, and get all the pending things, whether he can approve, reject, or check all the pending amount. Admin can see expenses or sees the summary. Okay, so if I need to draw the architecture for this one, so the drawing is very easy. The simple thing is, whatever the http hit you are going to do from your postman, so it will be like plus jwt bearer header, then it will go towards your controller, and then controller will call your service will call our repository, and this repository will call our database, right? So as we are using this h2 database, we are going to use not sql. If you want to use in your machine, you can use it, but I will be using h2 today. MySQL will be optional. Again, it's up to you. If you want to use, I'll share the code, you can do it. Repository will use this JPA repository. Service, we will use add the service annotation so that we can make our class as service. So it will have the business rules plus add the rate pre-authorize, which I will talk about it today. And this will be the main thing. Controller is nothing. We'll use this add the rate rest controller. Okay. And it will be like JSON input and your output. Okay, and http request that I have already discussed. So this is all a simple Spring Boot hierarchy that we are going to follow. Till now it's clear to everyone, guys? Anyone have doubt, or it's clear?
Yeah, so this is clear, but actually I didn't join the yesterday class. So you have shown the first picture now, like where we have three roles mainly. So like that. So I just want to know, like in this project we are going to do role based kind of thing, like.
Yes, Sancha. So role based will be like this one. This is a role based. So where we have multiple methods that we will try to build. So if I say post, okay, so post is for the who anyone, like slash login. So in order to create your JWT token, then post is basically if I want to submit the expenses, who employee is responsible. Get, if I want to see my expenses, I'll say employee. Get again for the pending, so manager, so all pending things he can see. Patch is basically if manager can approve or reject your expenses. Okay, so there will be two patches for approve and for the reject. Get is very important, slash expenses. So right now we are doing only for our admin, but further we can do for the manager. So we had a good discussion over this. So we finalize admin can see all the expenses, all the list of expenses. And the last one is all your managers, like if I want to see a summary, so this is all about your AI. Okay, who can see your manager or admin can see your summary. So these are the three things that we are going to do with multiple APIs. Okay, clear?
Yeah.
Okay. Then we saw today like how we are going to use our AI in this, because this is a bootcamp with AI. So there are three features that we will be implementing. Then this is how your Java code looks like for the AI. Then how the actual flow of our code, like where it flow, HTTP from HTTP request to where. So as a layman, like employee will fill a form, manager signs off, admin sees everything. Simple thing we are going to do. Now let's discuss about the project now. So if we'll do the scaffold project first, so you need to create a folder in the repo root, create folder like week -04 expense approval. This is your legitimate or standard way of creating any Spring Boot application. Okay. So where there will be new domain, new package, and everything will be inside your in.code.expense. Okay, so just follow me. Okay, so what I did before joining this class, I think in the first class we already explained, and I already explained how we are creating the form and all. So I hope so you all know this. Nothing you need to go to this Spring Initializer. After that, fill all the required thing, and you will see if you click on generate, it will create your zip file. And if you click on explore, so whatever the dependency you have added, you can able to see it, right? So I have done the same before joining this class. So let's discuss this. Okay, the first thing is your parent. So inside your parent, it will have consume, well, this is my Spring Boot application, and this is my parent, and now I'm using this 3.4.1. So totally depends on which Spring Boot version you want to use. Group ID is for us. So in.code.kdo. So inside this group, if I'll say in.code.kdo, that's fine. Then artifact ID. So artifact ID, I think last class or I think week second, we have a good discussion over the artifact. Like what is the actual meaning of artifact? Someone might ask. If no, just please check the recording. So we'll using this week 4 expense approval. Snapshot 3.0 version, and name we are just giving it code Kados week 4 expense approval system. Descriptions is expense approval with JWT roles and Grok AI. Topic telling about the properties that actually we are using. We are using Java version 17.21 you can use. So 17.21 is both our LTS long-term support. Anything you can use. AI version we are using 1.0.0-M5, and JWT version we are using 0.12.6. Okay, so if yes, then if I go about dependency management, so dependency management has this thing. So AI we are using with whatever the versions we will call below. So it is going to use this inside this dependency management. Now let's talk about the dependency, folks, and this is very easy. I would say everyone knows. So here this JJWT, right, where I've used this. One second. There's this. If I go down, where I was mentioning JJWT, this one. So you know JJWT is basically Java library to create and verify Java web token. Okay, JWT tokens, no time limit this week. Okay, so you could see here JJWT is basically someone will ask, it's a Java library to create and verify our JWT. So that's why we have mentioned JJWT. Okay, all the dependencies, as you are aware, Spring Boot Web, JPA, validations, security, and dependency H2 database. If someone wants to use MySQL, I've added that part as well. Dependency AI, we have a dependency for the JWT. This much is required. So I have bifurcated like so that you won't confuse if I share this code with you. So group ID, JWT implementation, JSON Web Token, and we have this Spring Boot starter test and security, because security is very important. So security we have added. Okay, and this is the Spring Boot. Till now it's clear to everyone, 100%. Form.xml is clear. Okay, perfect. Yes. So more thumbs up, then it will be I'll be get more happy. Great. Fine. I have shared you. Okay. The form.xml you can also see. Repository. So what is this line? Can you explain this one? Repository. Inside this repository we have Spring milestone report.string IO enabled for. What is the meaning of this? Can anyone explain me? What do you understand by this? Because dependency and all we know, plugins we know, like we are using Maven plugin, that is fine. If there will be another Gradle, so Gradle plugin will be there. But what does actually line number 108 to 1014 holds? So that's why, right? We as a student or as a developer, we just see what are the dependency part. But every line inside this has a thing. Okay. So you need to see if we are starting with this and you are in my class, so you should know about this part as well. Anyone know about this, or should I explain, guys? Okay, no problem. So this we call it as an XML configuration snippet. Okay, commonly from a Maven form.xml file. Exactly, it resides over there because we have this unit. So what is the meaning of each part? So repositories, right? This is a parent element that contains one or more custom repository. Okay, this repository, if I add it, so it means like the list of remote repository for discovering of dependencies and extension. Second thing is ID, then Spring milestone. This the second thing is ID and Spring milestone means we it gives the repository a unique name identifier, usually internally by Maven, and it does not affect where dependency comes from. It's just a labeling tag. So ID is just a labeling tag. URL is very important, repo.spring.io.milestone. So let's try to open it. Yes. So you will see this JFrog is coming with the help of this repo.spring.io UI native milestone. It will point to our Spring milestone repository, which hosts the milestone release of the Spring project. For example, like we have 7.0.0-M1, M2. So you could see here these are the index of our milestone. And last modify on 18, 14, something. It will go around this, so it will give you a good name of this, right? So if I go to org, so org has this. If I go to Spring, Spring has this. The dependency management, so dependency manager, and Gradle plugin. So it will what it will do. So these are the pre-releases version intended for testing before the final release. That's why you will see here inside this we are using this one repository. Where is that? Milestone Java. Yeah, one second, I'll tell you. 7 point hyphen V, I showed you, right? Hyphen M something. Hyphen M, I showed you, right? Where is that? This one you are seeing, right? AI version. So same, some type of this will be still be there. So this tell Maven do not download a snapshot version from this repository. So these are the pre-releases version intended for testing, right? And so if I say 7.0.0 snapshot, so since snapshots are disabled, this repository will only use for their milestone releases. So why we add it? Okay. So sometimes if we add a dependency that is not available on Maven Central, so Maven needs to know about the Spring milestone repository. That's why this repository is loaded. Okay, simple, not a much science. The repository, if we are defining one repository, ID is a unique identifier for the repository. URL is basically the repository location. Snapshot we have added enable false means like do not use the repository for a snapshot version, only use it for the milestone release. So in short, this configuration allows Maven to download Spring milestone releases while explicitly excluding snapshot builds from that repository. Till now it's clear to everyone why are we using this. Clear?
I have one doubt.
Mhm.
So, could you please show the POM XML again?
Yeah.
So, we have the dependencies and we have the repository tag. So,
Okay.
what I understood here is that whatever the dependency we have added, right?
Mhm.
It is going to be downloaded from some repository, right?
Exactly. Exactly.
And in the repository tag we defined the milestone
Mhm.
repository. So that milestone repository will be in JFrog, which contains multiple dependencies.
Yes.
and
Exactly.
and okay, so I wanted to know that whatever the dependencies we have added are
Mhm.
downloaded from where, from the defined repositories or the from the out of the box repository.
Okay. Perfect. So what do you think? Like, just see the line number. The answer is inside this line number 1 to 5.
Okay.
What do you think? Check it.
Okay, so it is downloading from the Maven Apache repository.
Yes. Okay. Then.
And we have, okay, schema location, we have model version
Mhm.
4.00. So I didn't get it.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what will happen? Once you give, okay, so what I'll do, I'll just try to give this 0.06 to 0.017. So if you will do it right, so there will be a button on this. I have not enabled it because my repository is completed. So in your VS Code, okay, if you try to change this version or something from, if I give you this version, where one second, let me tell you. Yeah. Assume like instead of this 3.0 snapshot, if you give 4.5.0 snapshot or something, right? So there will be a button to reload it. So what actually happening step by step, your form, the flow will be like the form.xml, then Maven reads it, it will check the local cache, it will download from the remote. So first here, what is happening? We have the dependency. So sometimes you see, right, the form.xml is there, and the right side of the VS Code you see to reload it, right? Correct. So how it
Yes.
is reloading? It is just calling this particular project. So this we have this XML, Maven Apache org form version, then XML. So it will go towards this Maven repository and try to see whether what are the dependencies you are trying to build it. If it is there, it will download it. If not, then I mean, if it is not there, it will download. If it is there, you can utilize it. So everything will be inside your local cache of the Maven. Okay. So
Okay.
in your system, yeah, in your system somewhere it will, if you are using this Maven, so it will be like this. It will show you like this m2 slash repository. Just check in your device as well. Somewhere it will be like this one stick dot m2 and this repository. So then if a dependency is already downloaded, it will use. If they're not, then it will be no direct call. Yeah.
Okay. Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Perfect. And if I show you the dependency, let me see. Okay, I think here, so many of chicken. I'll show you one second. Okay, when you start, then I'll let you know. So this is the first thing. This is the first our perform.xml configurations that are required for this application. Perfect. So if we are assuming if we are building a house, I have all the things. I have cement, I have concrete, I have steel. Everything now has been added over here. I have gate. So gate is our JWT token. Perfect. My form.xml is created. Then what you need to do, you need to create the package plus main classes. So as of now, the main classes is will like src main. Then we have this. If I go towards this, this. So src, then main, then Java, then inside in dot getCredos. So dot Java, then dot in dot code credos. One second. Yeah, dot get code credos inside the expense that yesterday we were discussing. So all the things will be towards here. So inside the expenses, my first application is expense approval application. Okay, perfect. So what is this application? We are inside this expense and we are using three things: Spring Boot application, enable sync, and Spring application. You would see we have two, and now this one annotation you all know, and this is my enable async. Okay, now this enable async is there. So as of now, let's forget towards this. Okay, I'm not going to discuss it. So just for this class, we are not discussing it. Okay, I've just added it, but just forget about this annotation. Okay, keep it like this only. That's the first thing, expense approval application. So now we have built our foundation. Like, okay, here the all the things will be revolving around. Still not clear to everyone, guys, what we have done. First, we created our form.xml, then our main class, correct? Okay, so that is the first thing, expense approval system. Next thing, where I need to go, tell me quickly, where should I go now? Next.
You can create the entity first.
No, before entity, do we need to make changes in this resource
All right.
application or properties, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because you need to give the properties like where you are going to host it, what will be your paint, what will be the color. So everything that you want, right? You will inside give your inside application or properties. What is happening once you are trying to build your home, then your electricity, then your water pump, all the things are also required. Correct? You should not directly start with your building the rooms, because for rooms or for the cements you need water, right? So those things will be a property of your house. Similarly here, this Spring Boot holds the property inside either in application.properties or YML. So I am using this YML. So right now what I'm saying, my server port will be 8080. Perfect. Spring application name is your expense approval. Profile active is H2 database. Fine. For this AI, just copy this. So Grok API key we are using. Perfect. Base URL is your this. And if I say dollar, So dollar grok API key is nothing. Inside our TNV, we have added our JWT secret or grok API key. So if I want to use it, what I'll do inside the terminal, I'll say export grok API key and I'll provide my API key for inside the terminal. So that now if I try to run this application, so it will, this value will be filled by our terminal because we are using this dollar. Dollar means input. And inside this input, whatever passing, it will just pass towards your API key. After that, we are using this OpenAI. Grok is it comes from the OpenAI, and the model we are using is Llama 3.3-70 versatile. Okay. Then again, we are using this JWT. So I'll say inside the application, the JSON, the Java Web Token, sorry, JSON Web Token. The secret is like JWT secret, code Pharaoh's demo secret, change in production, minimum 32 character, and expiration we have set it like 864. Can anyone tell me what this time second is? 864 0000. What is the time for this? What does it holds?
Like time in millisecond.
Time. That is fine, but what is the estimation we are saying? How you will calculate?
It is, I think, 24 hours, looks like.
Are you sure?
Yeah.
Exactly. So yes, if someone has the issue on this, we will discuss it. Don't worry. So how we will calculate it? ये भी देख लो एक बार. So in future you won't face any issue. This I have written 86. Check कर लो अच्छे से. Okay, 864. This. Okay. So now how we will calculate it? It's very simple. Everything which will added in our application of property of YML will be in our millisecond. So someone said MS, that is correct. So if I want it, so we have this millisecond. Millisecond. Okay. Now first, if I want to find the minutes or something, what I'll do? The calculation is very simple. Seconds. If I want to convert it into the second, so for the second, I will simply divide it by 1000. Okay. 864 0000 0000 divided by 1000. Okay, the rules which I am telling you, do not ask me why 1000, but I remember it, so I am telling you. If you divide this by second, you will get the time in the second. Now, if I go towards our minute, okay, so this will be around your 1440 minute. Okay, after that, you will divide it by 60. Okay, and if you want to find an hour, so it will give you 24 hours. Okay, and if you divide by 60, so it will give you a days, and this days will be your 1 day. So this is the calculation or overall calculation. You do it. Day, 1 day, hours, 24 hours, minutes, 1440, seconds, just multiply into 60, so it will give you this 860 0000 and 1000, then it will give you a millisecond. So no one pointed out, right? The second will be, no one pointed out, it will be like this 864 and this double zero. This is the calculation we usually do. Clear? This part is clear. MS, how we are calculating is
Yes.
okay. Then if I go towards the code, the Spring configurations active profile is H2. Data source, we are using this expense DB, that if we try to run it, so this expense DB will be created inside our terminal, and it will be till now whatever it will created, it will be only for the particular application. It's not going to store forever. Once we reload, everything is gone, and again the restart will happen. H2 enabled, fine. Now JPA, we are using the Hibernate DDL update auto. So it's going to update, one thing is linked with another. So that one will be updated as well as something changes. Properties is Hibernate format SQL, where we will see the SQL as well. So we'll say format SQL true. And the last one is very easy for the Spring configurations. We have on profile MySQL, and data source is localhost this, expense user, password is expense pass, driver class name MySQL, JDBC, and Hibernate is this. So I have added the configurations of MySQL as well. Those who want to use, they can use it. One thing is important for this. I am explaining you this application.yml properties. Okay, so you don't remember all the things from this. Okay, right now we have a strong AI, foundational AI, which also you can ask your AI to complete it, and it will give you this YML file or properties file. So please just do not waste time and in writing or memorizing this properties or YML. Just see the foundation. If someone will ask on this line what is happening, so you can able to explain cut by cut. That is enough. No one is expecting you to remember JPA, then IBAN and DDL auto. What is the use? That is very important. What is it doing inside the code? That is very important, but it's not important that you should write, you should know the writing of this hierarchy. No, it's not at all important as of now, because AI is there to take care of everything. Then if I go towards your .env example, so I've added the two things, that is your secret key and your grok API key. Okay, once we reload it, so all the structure of YML and form.xml is ready. Okay, so everything is now been added, all the things we have it. So let's move towards our code part, right? So now think from your architecture brain. This was my app.model. If I go back to our app.model and if I just clean this, okay, yes. So as we were discussing, like we'll have the three roles, right? We'll have this three role. If I zoom little bit, zoom in, employee, manager, and admin. Correct. So can you tell me what will be the file structure for this? If I have a fixed role for this application, that is employee, manager, and admin. So what do you think? What should be the uh, file structure? It will be, or file type will be. Think from your architecture brain and tell me. No hurry. Akhil, Tanisha, Shubham, Malika, Suresh, Abhishek, Tirupati, Bhavya.
So file structure means you want to know like whatever field should every role have, or what like file
File
structure.
structure means like whether it will fall. It will fall under entity. It will fall
Okay.
under DTO. It will fall
Mhm.
where? This file structure I'm asking. What do you think?
I think that ID, email, password, full name that should be fall under entity, and the role should be resolved at the controller layer itself. So it should be fall under DTO.
Okay. So if for this application, if I have my role manager, employee, admin ready, okay. So don't you think we should fall under enums,
Yeah.
the role?
Right.
Because already in your production sometimes you will see the role is specified, right? So
Mm.
almost role changing or role is there for the particular application is just like user access we need to grant, that will be on your front end basis, but for the back end the role needs to be there in order to render it, right? So for this one what we have added three things: enum, employee, manager, and admin. That is the first thing. Then for the expense status, again it is enum, because we already told you, right? Like if there is any expense, so manager can able to do it. So the expense amount in this one status, you will see. So status, if I mark it, this one. Status pending, approve, and reject. So this also will fall under our expense status. That will be enum. Expense category. So right now we are the category for the particular employee will be travel, get reimbursement for travel, for the food, for the software, for the equipment, or if there is any other thing, just specify it. So this will be your expense category. Okay, so three things as an architect person, you should know when to use enum and when to use DTO and all, right?
Hello.
So, tell me.
But now I was having. Suppose we have deployed this application in production. And now I
Can
want
you
to
please,
introduce
I'm not able to hear you, yeah, please.
with
Yes, yes. Uh, no, still there is echo, but it's fine. Can you repeat? Can even guys hear Suresh voice? Because for me, it's not audible.
No,
No.
No.
same for me as well.
Yeah.
Okay.
Can't hear it.
Plus, you can write down your question as well. I'll just see. Okay, just write down your question. Perfect. So let's move first. So I'll say expense category. We have travel, we have food, we have software, we have equipment, and we have other. Now, again, someone might ask like why we are specifying this employee manager admin. That is fine because for our employee management system we have a medium project hierarchy. So we can stick, we can give the role. So the hierarchy will be like enum role, employee manager. So that these three role will control whatever every user can do in the system. So employee submits, manager approves, admin watches everything. That is a constant thing. Expense status. If there is expense status, so pending to approved or pending to rejected. So expense can only be in one of these three states. It always starts at pending. We enforce that in the service layer, not here. That's why we make it as enum. And the last one is expense category. So for medium level thing understanding, we have taken five things, but for the production, it can be go inside a new column for or on the front end, and we can then use it. Right now for the enum, we define valid categories in code, not as free text in the database. So AI will pick one from this list on Sunday, other is the fallback, or once the cron jobs will run, it will be picked like this. So this travel, food, software, these are for the AI. We can have multiple things, but as of now, for understanding of how the Spring Boot works with the AI, we have taken five parameters. But for the role, yes, definitely in the backend, we can change it. We can have multiple employee manager admin. But as of now, these three roles control what every user can do. And according to our system, that is employee management application, we are providing with this three field. Why enum, not a string field is a question. So if we use string category, someone could set travel typo mistake and your DB would have a garbage. So with an enum, the compiler rejects any invalid value at the compile time. That's why we have taken enum. Again repeating, why enum, not a string field. So if we use the string category, someone could use like we have this travel, right? Expense category travel. So it will be like public string travel, then get travel, set travel. So someone can use travel by mistake or set the travel by mistake in the database, and it will be a garbage value. So unable to identify, and there could be a issue in the database. That's why with an enum, the compiler will reject if there is any invalid value comes happen at the compile time. So this is the structure. Clear till now, everyone? Till now it's clear. Okay. And don't worry, guys. Like for the next, the last, the big project that we have, everything is dynamic. It's not gonna static. First, see the foundational of the Spring Boot. If we directly start with the multiple DBs, multiple features, so you will get confused. And again, because the thing which you are facing, okay, I'm not by birth known for the Spring Boot or something. First, I start with the basic. I know like if I'll do multiple things at a one time, so everything will come clumsy in my mind and I'll be back to zero, right? So it's better to always start. Yeah, it's better to always start first with the basic, grow little bit inside your Spring Boot application, and once you're ready with this, then make everything as a dynamic so that your brain can able to handle it. That is the sure thing short you need to learn in your day-to-day life. Perfect. Let me see your question before going to this. Yeah. So what you're saying that do we have something like seeder concept in Spring Boot? What do you think? Anyone? Tanisha, I think you were working on Spring Boot. What do you think? Do we have a seeder concept? Anyone knows about this seeder concept? No? Okay. So basically the seeder, I mean, it's a good question. I won't take much time. But seeder is a component that populates the database, with an initial or I would say a sample data with the application start, right? Why we use a seeder? Suppose if we have an application with role and user, and yes, we are going to use it. We'll try. So with role and user table, every time the application starts for the first time, you might want to automatically create admin role, user role, default admin, assume. So instead of inserting them manually, a seeder will does this automatically. Correct? If I'm not wrong, correct. So what? Yes. So what do you think? Do we need to use seeder in this?
Yeah, for I think now I'm audible.
Yeah. Now I can hear. Yes.
Yeah, yeah. So now let's suppose when we're defining the expense categories or role, so we can have one more tables like suppose
Mhm.
user role that we can set terms of the and similarly for expenses.
Mhm.
So suppose if we want to map anything, let's suppose if a person chooses that expense, then we can have that particular ID
Correct.
related to that user.
Mhm.
So therefore,
So you're saying that we can use it, right?
yeah, yeah,
Okay. One
for
second.
future queries and operations.
Okay. So what I will using, yes. So Spring Boot has the equivalent we call it as command line runner or application runner, right? So we already have this in our project. Okay, so I'll show you one second. Just if I go to start with this configuration, so let me show you as well. So inside the configuration we have a data loader. Okay, this one. So what actually we are happening now? We are just seeder this, or we are using the seeding in the Spring Boot in the inside the command line. So once app will start, it will call the Spring Boot, and first it will run all the command line runner. Okay, this is, so you have mentioned it right. This command line runner, and it will start seeding the data. Okay, so you will
One
see here.
about what
Huh,
happened. Yeah, Cedar concept I got it now that we are defining inside data loader. Let's
okay.
suppose we have already created one migration, right? And now suppose we need to that thing we have already pushed in a production, and now we want to modify that table. Suppose I just want to add two more
Hmm.
columns in that table. So do we have some? We can create another migration and applying that thing table columns in that pre-existing table.
Huh, I mean, see, it totally again depends. So how in production it will do? So obviously, this seeder we are doing right now manually, and when we are reading the Spring Boot. So again, the secret manager is there, right? So the problem in production, we don't want the data loader. That is the first thing, to reseed user on every restart, or we are using this hard, yeah, hard coded plain text like EMP123. You can see here.
Mhm.
First thing what we can do is profile based seeding, right? So we can do add that profile local, so it will run locally, never in the production, right? And inside the application.yaml, we can change it. Second thing, what we can do the SQL migrations like a Flyway or Liquid base, right? So what is happening is inside the standard that we are using, we write the SQL migration file like src main resource db migration v1 create table or v2 seed initial admin. So it will runs and it will track in the database. Okay, so what we are doing it for the v2, if we have the admin, so we will write like insert into app user, email, password, full name, role. So we give in admin company and whatever the password here and admin. So Flyway is the mechanism that tracks which migrations we need to run. So it will never run the same file twice, even across the restart. The third thing is we can set the environment variable driven seeding. That is a very good thing. Like we can give value app.c.enable false. So it will default to false, and we can give like we can just add the logic for the bean, and inside the YML we can either set enable true or enable false. So we have multiple things to use in the production. Okay, clear?
Mhm.
Okay, perfect. So I mean, it's a great question. I mean, if user might skip, so you added a good point over there, like how we are using Cedar for this role, and it's a good thing. Perfect. I mean, great question. So we are now at a good pace. I was about to show you data loader in the last, but yes, fine. Then we have seen this expense category is done. Now we'll talk about the app user and expense, right? JPA entities, app user and expense. So we have two core tables, the users who, and expenses what. Expenses links to the employer who submit it, and optionally the manager who reviewed it. Correct? Am I right or wrong with the statement? So if I open this, and if I go towards this app user, which I was saying, this one that we were discussing. So everything is here only, right? So we have this application user. Application user will have two things. First thing is users and expenses. Correct? User and expenses. So expenses will link to the employee who submit their expenses, and optionally the manager will review. Correct? So if I go towards our application, you will see we have added this inside our entity. Correct? Application user and expenses. So if I open this application, it's very important because entities are very important. So first thing is our entity, that is the name equals to user. Okay, that's fine. We have this ID, generated value, that is you all know, like 1 2 3 4 sequential way. Column is email, and I'm saying that it should be nullable equals to false and mandatory, and unique is equals to true. We have the password, you need to type the password, you need to write the full name, and here we are getting this enumerated enum type, that because enum we want. So we are saying the role. So the role will come from this enum. That's why we have written enumerated enum type dot string, and we are using this getter setter. So what actually is happening? Entity. Those who don't know, entity is nothing, is just a tells to JPA. JPA Java Persistence API, like make a DB table from this class, that is app user.java. This annotation is the bridge between Java and the database. At the rate table name equals to user is nothing. It what it does, names the table user instead of app underscore user. Names the table user because I have app user. So if you don't give this table and specify the name, it will create like app underscore user, right? But I want explicitly this user. So we control the table name. Users now read better in the sequence. That's why we provided name equals to user. Okay. Then we have ID plus generated value. So you all know, like in that name the table user instead of sorry, it will auto increment the primary key, this one, and the DB assign like 1 2 3 4 something. So we never set the ID ourselves. The DB is going to handle it. Then column unique equals to true, right? Nullable equals to false, and then we'll have this. So we have this right now. We have this string email, and we have written unique equals to true. Means every email ID should be unique. It should not be repeating. So every employee ID in your company also as well. One person is having one mail ID, not two. Correct. The same thing we are going to describe it over here. Then enumerated enum type, because we are storing the employee in database, right? Not zero something. So that's why we have said that string is readable in S2 console. So we always prefer it over ordinal. So we say that okay, enumerated and whatever the role assigned to the app user. Till now it's clear to everyone, folks. Still have doubt? Clear? Okay.
One more query I was having in that.
Yeah.
That suppose we are auto generating the ID, and
Mhm.
nowadays most of the company prefers UUID. So suppose if we want to use UUID, then how we are doing in Spring Boot?
So yes, so we can use this. I mean, here we have, instead of long LID, we can use this UUID, and we will import it.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean it's very easy. Like you want me to use app UUID?
No, it's okay. I just want to know because I am very
Yeah.
new to Spring Boot. That's why.
Okay, okay. So we can use it. Okay. I'll show you. Okay.
Okay.
This one. Okay. I think I forgot the flow. What? Where we were?
We have completed the app user entity.
Okay. Let me complete the expense user. Then I'll show you this one. So expense.java. Now, second thing is expense.java. So we have multiple things. So that again, the entity table name we want expenses, and ID will be your generation.id. Okay. So the change will be again, if I need to tell you, so column is there, That is fine. And the column we are identify again, the title should be there, string descriptions, I need a descriptions, and we are using this big decimal amounts or something. So we'll see we have expenses, multiple things like expense status, local date, big decimal, expense category. Then we'll have many to one, focus this on this and this on this. Many to one, fetch type lazy, join column submitted by its id, and many to one, fetch type lazy, join column reviewed by ID, app user who is going to review it, rejection reasons, rejection reasons, string AI fraud flags, and we have this instant AI processors. If I open this instant, instant is nothing. It's just like if I want anything to be used like temporal, temporal adjuster, comparable, we are going to use it. So check this instant or Java is very good to use, right? This code is free software, and you will see. I mean, check the instant.java. It's very very good. I'm not going to take much time on that, but you should have the knowledge of instant as well. Okay. So for instance, I'll tell you why we have used AI process at instant. So in this is instant, and we have this value. So let's understand. And first thing, a big decimal amount. So right now for the amount we are using big decimal. So as a good developer, you should not use long or float. It should be big decimal. So what is happening? Exact decimal math, no rounding error. Say what is happening, never use double for money. Double gives you, assume like 84.888,499.9999, right? So big decimal gives you exactly 8,500, right? Because no company is ready to give you amount in such a way like this 8562.982 something like this, not possible. Simply they will give 8500 or 8499. This is the adjustment value of the company so that your database looks clean. Second thing is we have used the for the local date for the expense date. So date only, no time zone. That's why we have used local date. Okay. Then we have an expense happened on a day, not at a second. So local date is the right thing. I don't want hour or something. I want a date. Then we have expect expense status dot pending. So that is default in Java. Before database even touches it. So every new expenses is born pending. So we never let a caller set the status directly. Correct. That's why we have set it as pending. Okay, here private expense status equals to pending. So we have set it. Then we have a category. Category again, no nullable false means AI filled this on Sunday. Okay, this one we have this. So if we have a cron job or something, so AI is going to fill this. Okay, and when we are calling this, so AI is gonna fill it. So we'll leave it null today as of now. Then many to one, we have this many to one. So foreign key to the user who filled it. So this I think last class I told you for the many to one, what is happening? One employee can submit the many expenses. So many expenses, one user. Simple. One employee can submit many expenses, right? So what will happen? Many expenses, one user. So we have many to one. Whatever is submit by ID is going to join it. And it's not going to load everything. So once you click on the particular ID, then it's going to load it. So fetch that dot lazy, we added it. Many to one again, app user reviewed means nullable. So until a manager approves or reject, this stay null. So we have added the guys reviewed by their ID. Okay. And then we have reviewed by. Yeah, reviewed by we have already discussed. Then AI fraud flags. The AI fraud flag. Yeah. This AI fraud flag and process is very important. It will hold JSON from the grok. So placeholder. So in duplicate true, duplicate false, AI will going to give the answer. And instant. Okay. So it basically like timestamp auto set in Java at object creation. So no needed for add the rate create date annotation. The default value handles is that's why we have used instant. And then we have all the getter and setter. So simple. If inside the app user one, okay, and it will denote like this expenses that comes under the many. So if I have the employee at the rate something, manager at the rate something, so employee says that flight, I took the flight, to Mumbai, okay, and the flight was around 8,500 and it is pending, okay. Then manager says that okay, I'll review it. So reviewed by, it will come like reviewed by, okay, when approved slash rejected. This is the wholesome we are trying to build it. So the JPA relation, if I'll discuss it, so just go over there again to the code. So JPA relationship saying that the two relationship is very important. Again, the many to one, many to one, many to one. Okay. So many to one says that if I copy this, if I go there and if I place it, arre, arre, arre. Yeah, yes. So it's very easy. I think you all know the concept behind it. Yeah. So many to one explanation is very easy. Many expenses can belong to one user. So we have many expenses that will belong to one user. That's fine. Then we have right to left. We need to read from right to left. So one user has many expenses. From expenses side, it has many to one. Correct? So just see that. What I am trying to tell, one user can have multiple expenses. Expenses one, expenses two, expenses three. Okay. From expense side, from expense, if I am standing from the expense, it will be like many to one, correct? Because this is user one, user two, user three, user four. Are you supporting my word? Are you getting my word? What I am trying to tell everyone? Okay. So that's what we have uses many to one. Joint column submitted by ID means we have this expense table, right? I showed you the name of the foreign key column in the expense table, right? So that's why we have make it as submitted by ID or expense. So without this, Hibernate will pick an ugly name. Always name it explicitly. That's why we have said that name equals to submitted by ID. Okay, join column submitted by ID. So this will be a good name. Then we have nullable equals to false. We say that nullable false means every expense must have a submitter. That is a DB logic we have added. So you cannot insert an expense with no owner. The database will reject it. So if some just say here, this employee has created the flight to Mumbai, but if I have not added this and directly adding this, so it will show you an error. So for this one, we have make it as label equals to false. Means this should be true. Then we have fetch type.lazy. I told you like do not load the app user view until the get submitted by is called. So please do that one and do not load it again. Okay. So I think you all know last class we have a discussion on fetch type.lazy and fetch type.eager. Correct. So I should not explain, right? Correct. Can I skip that part? Okay. Perfect. So before going to that, right? Someone says that can we use ID over here? The answer is yes. We can use it with our PGID. So I'm not going to use it, but I'll show you how we can use it. So the basic thing is we need to import it. So import java.util.uuid. Okay, uuid. If we import it, so you will see here we have the generated value. So generation type will change from uuid. Yar, okay, dot uuid, and here it will be like I'll remove this and I'll say uuid. Okay, and the getter and setter whatever you have, you can simply return it. Okay, okay, Swiss, it's clear.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah, yeah. So we can use anything is fine. We can use everything. Do not worry. So I'll go quickly, go Control Z, and yes. So these are the two things that we have discussed about this. Okay. Now, the third thing. Now tell me where the third thing will go. So yes, many to one, one to many is very important because if we skip it, so it's going to be issue once we increase our production level things. And join column, I already explained you like why are we using the join column. Now you should you should able to grasp the logic of these two things, because if not, then probably you need to watch the video again. But yeah, it is very important expense table or something that we have, so please check that one. Okay, so the again now it's time to see the repository because we have the entity, we have the roles, but repository is also important. So always check the repository. So if I open my app user repository, it has nothing. It has two things, that is find by email ID or second is exist by email. If there is something, then we can say that it is exist by our email ID. Perfect. So then another thing we have it expense repository. So inside this we have multiple things for this expense repository. Okay. So first we'll do a walkthrough about this. So find by email is saying that what it will generate inside the backend. If someone new to this in the backend, if I someone will trigger find dot email ID, so it will give you like this set from star from users where email equals to question mark, the placeholder. So Spring reads the method name and write the SQL for you. Capital B in by separates the field name. So field this by is going to separates the field name. So we are finding by its email ID. So it is find by email. Exist by email means now it's going to see whether we have or not. So the query that is going to do is yes, this one. Select count from and it will be yes. I know the AI will make the mistake. So select count star from zero from where from users where email ID is something means like it will use in the data loader to skip seeding if user already existed. That's why we have said boolean exist by email. Use in the data loader to skip the seeding if user already exists. That's the first thing. Expense repository, again, is very important. Find by submitted by order created of order by created at this. It means like we have a long method name. Spring will parse every word order by plus descending. Okay, that is the newest first. Okay, so the query it will generate inside the backend will be select star from expenses. Okay, where submitted by submitted by underscore id equals to this order by correct order by and created at descending. This is the correct SQL is going to generate in the backend. Second thing is find by status. If I want to find the status, so it will be like select a star from expenses. Yeah, because it is here, right? Expenses. So select a star from your expenses where status equals to this order by and created at your assignment. Okay. The third thing is last is your find by expense date between. Right? Between means local date from this to this. So what will happen? A placeholder will be there. So select from star from expenses where expense date between from and to whatever you will pass it. So just review this. We can take 2 minutes of break and then we can start it. I'm pasting you this. If you anyone have doubt, please ping me. Just give me 2 minutes. Okay, 4 minute break is fine. Um, guys, still now it's clear, everyone.
Yes.
So before starting with the actual gig, just tell me honestly, you are getting now the experience of a Spring Boot, like how the things are actually working. If you are a developer, or still you need something. Okay, I mean thumbs up is fine. Okay, no problem. So how? So basically, again, the your product manager or your person is going to tell you like how to start or what to start, but you should be the person who should start writing it. So currently we have writing the entity, that is fine, that is the base of our application. Then we have started writing repository. So for this repository, we needed some of the seeding value that will again give confirmed by the product manager, and we have just implemented inside our config. Okay, that we have explained, and that's US that US highlighted the good point. So this is the first thing that is going to load it as a inside the configuration. Perfect. The next after repository, the next working is for the DTO. Okay. So why are we created the DTO again? Never expose entity or password hash in the JSON response. Login gets a request DTO. Login returns JWT, not the user entity. Why are we using DTO? We should never expose at the rate entity or entity model or password hash inside the JSON responses. Login gets a request DTO. Login returns JWT, not the user entity. That's why we have created our DTO. So the first DTO we'll talk about is our login DTO. So this is very simple. Record I explained last time as well. So this is the request. Request is like email should not be blank and your password. That is the first thing. Second, so this is the way, creational way, foundational way to create any DTO, which I've explained you guys, and I'm not going to explain now. Again, see, we are using the annotation. So again, Spring provides multiple annotation. This time it is coming from our Jakarta. And if I open the entity app.user, so sometimes it is coming from Jakarta persistent, or sometimes it is coming from the Spring Boot as well, from the util class. So I will take another session on this import package as well. Do not worry, because this persistence validations can have multiple things. So next class, Saturday, the upcoming Saturday, I will teach you. I will show you how the actual annotations work. So right now, just see if I want my email ID should be not blank or it should hold the email annotation. So we'll use this two annotation, and you can read as well, like this annotated element must not be null and must contain at least one non-white space character and accept the character sequence. This character sequence, these all things, just see, study about this character sequence, what is a string, and what is string made up of two to three interfaces. What are those interfaces? These are the marker interfaces. What are marker interfaces? So I would say Spring Boot Java is not a particular language or what I say a normal language. It is a ocean where the normal part is a Spring Boot. So once you dive into the Spring Boot, you will see a lot more new things which your mind will say unable to keep it in a single day. It will ask some time from you. So just see, just I would say in Hindi we say घोल के पी जाना, right? So just see everything. What is record? What is the login request? Then why are we using not blank email? What inside this string holds, right? So if just see anyone uh, can after this class see what is this class, what is string.java holds, right? What is offset value? What is param value? Everything will be there, guys. So just see that, okay? Then we have this login request where it has two things. Both are not blank. One it will hold at the rate email annotation. Second thing will leave a password. So whatever the password you are getting, it's up to you. Second thing, our the response. So I would say auth response. So the response will be like token, email, your role, and your expires. This is for the JWT. So if you are getting the authentication response, The token will return with the particular email ID, what is the role of user, and your expired. So assume like if uh, Suresh is the manager of Shubham. So Shubham token will be generated with Shubham at the rate gmail.com. Role for the Shubham is the employee and the token. If Suresh is going to log in, so then token will be generated for Suresh. Then mail ID Suresh at the rate gmail.com. The role is manager and expired. If Code Kados is going to log in, so and it will be your admin. Something like this we have set for the DTO. The third thing is if you want to submit the expense request. So I'll create the submit. So submit expense is again fine. We have a not blank. So yes, title is required. What you are submitting, what is the title? So if I am traveling from Mumbai, so I'll say expense will be like travel, and you will give like I've traveled from this to this, and will the title will be traveled from Mumbai to Gurgaon or Gurgaon to Mumbai. Then we'll have the placeholder value. We have provided the value 0.01. Amount must be positive and big decimal. Just tell me what is the meaning of this. Can anyone explain me quickly why what I have written? Like
If suppose user will try to enter any negative number, then we are going to throw a validation error from backend that amount should be positive and the value must be greater than 0.01.
exactly. So this is typically in the Spring Boot DTO where we use the fair what part means. If I say not null, that is fine. Like the amount should not be null, and if the client does not provide the field or explicitly it's since null, validation is going to fail. So valid is saying that amount 100.50 is our valid amount. But if I say amount null, it's not a valid amount. So at the rate valid is also going to check. So not null, and then the third thing. The third thing is decimal minimum. So decimal min is we say that decimal minimum means that value is greater than or equals to 0.01. This means that the amount must be positive and at least 1 cent in dollar or in rupees. It totally depends on you. For the smallest support unit, so if the validation fails, the custom message will return. Okay, message will be amount must be positive. Why are we using big decimal? Because big decimal is a preferred type for the financial value. Again, I'm telling from the production perspective, like big decimal is a preferred type for the financial values because it stores decimal number precisely. So if I say 0.1 plus 0 point, right? So system dot out dot print, if I say these two things, so it will print 0.30000004, something like this. I'll show you. Let me see if JavaScript will allow here or not. One second. If I say online GDB, yeah. So let's say I'll change this to Java. I'll do an experiment, okay? If I fail, please don't judge me. So I say double A equals to 0.1 plus 0.2. And if I want to print this, so if I say print 0 plus 1, sorry. Exactly. So this is the 0.1 plus 0.3 number is coming. Okay, that is a double A. So we should not use double A for that. Okay, with big decimal. Okay, with the big decimal, what is actually happening? It will behave like this. Okay, big decimal A equals to new. I'll copy this quickly. Big decimal, and here I can provide like 0.1. Okay, then I'll copy this. I'll say big decimal B equals to next big decimal 0.2. And in the last, I will say add with the B. So A dot add B, and just see the answer. It is a precise value. Okay, I need to import as well. So import Java dot util dot big decimal, and it will work now. Huh? I not find a symbol. What is happening? Okay, let me try with the util. So I don't know why it's not working, but this is a working scenario. Okay, big decimal is the preferred type, so please use that big decimal. I don't know what is the issue. Check that. I mean, the code is correct. Okay, this code is 100% correct. But this is there is issue in the importing. Let me try once again. Uh, okay. I'll say run this code. See, I give the Java util.start was not working. So yeah, okay, Java.math will work fine, fine. So I was checking in the util now. Yes, guys. So just see, I was initially giving Java util. It should be java.math.bigdecimal. Okay, my bad. Perfect. So big decimal we are using. So everything I'm explaining line by line, you should follow as well. Not null again the our expense date. So whatever the expense you have searched, it should be not null. Then we have the next thing that is our response. Correct. So expense response is also important. Expense response is nothing whatever the response I wanted. ID, title, description, amount, date, status, category, submitted by your email, reviewed by email, rejection reason. AI will give you the fraud flags and created at the first thing. Second thing is inside this we have the things. So and second thing is like we are getting going to get the ID of the particular response. So expense will call, and then here it's going to return with ID, title, description, amount, expense rate. Same thing we have created here. We are getting from the expense from the input. Okay. So if I tell you the code walkthrough, why record instead of normal class? Again, why record? Because record auto generates a constructor. A record auto generates a constructor getter equals hash code and toString. That's why we are using record. We can also use class as well. Getter setter is there, but I don't want this. That's why I use record. For immutable data transfer object, this saves 30 plus lines, which I showed you. We never modify a DTO after creating it. That's why record is perfect. And inside your interview, if you say we are using record, this will give you a good chance of selection. DTO login request. Okay. Login request is nothing. It is just like an email plus password coming. Email validates. Before it touches, Spring fires a 400 automatically if it fails. Nothing. Auth response is nothing. Token plus metadata that is going out. So the client stores this token and sends back on every future request. Submit expense is nothing. It is just like if there is any new data incoming, decimal, just check the value means amount 0 or negative is rejected before service runs. Expense response is nothing. Expense data going out. So we only send email string, never the full app user object. We hide the password from the JSON. Okay, and that is the from factor. This is coming from this from. Okay, we'll see. So this from that we have mentioned, we will use in the service class as well. So this is our from. Okay, till now it's clear, or should I explain again? Or should I stop the class or continue in next week? What do you say, guys?
Can you
Uh,
please tell me that one time that record one?
Okay, so record is basically why are we using it? Record auto generates a constructor, getter equals hash code and toString. Okay, that's why if I say like if I instead of this record, if I say class, so then I need to provide private, then private getter setter,
Yes.
then constructor, then toString, right? If you give
Right, right.
record, then everything will be handled by this. That's why we are using
Okay.
record. Okay,
Okay.
so both are same. Class you can create and record. I mean both method you can follow. Either you can create a record or class, but class will be a clumsy. I mean then it will be 80 90
Right,
lines
right.
of code. Okay, that's where we are using it.
Right. So,
Okay,
okay.
clear?
Yes.
Okay, so again guys, shall I continue with this or it's fine? I mean actually you will say that you it's your call. I don't want to get it burden, that's why I'm asking. No one is listening.
I think it is enough for today.
Okay,
Yeah,
see,
because I had another class also, 2 to 4. So now 4 to 5:30. So that's why for me. But if everyone is okay to go ahead, I will also continue.
Perfect, no problem. Then we have covered DTO and we have expense summary and all. We'll check that later once we start delve diving it. DTO is fine. Then we'll start with our service now. What actually service we are holding? There are two service which I have bifurcated it. Okay, no problem. So service we have AI and this basic authentication. So we'll start from the service. So please make sure to watch the recording again and again. Next class, sorry, next class is fine. I can able to complete it in the next week. But from upcoming next to next week, I won't create the service. You all are responsible for creating it. Okay, so I'll complete the partial code. You all will going to complete it. Okay,
Sure.
so please understand, cut to cut everything. That's why, because every line I'm explaining, it is taking time for me as well. So for the third project, be ready because I will throw some of the questions or topic towards it. Okay,
One more thing I just
yeah,
want to ask that
tell me.
regarding this, we will also learn that microservice architecture in this series.
Yes, yes. The third project will be all towards your microservices. So what is microservices? Nothing like we have one services connected to services which have their own dependent database, right? So
Right,
once
right.
you have a knowledge of the Spring Boot, you can easily connect with your database. Sorry, the another microservices. Okay. So the last project will be towards your Spring Boot with microservices. Do not worry. Okay. Yeah. So okay, guys, then we can meet next week. So please study well and enjoy your Sunday. Bye bye. Thank you.
Uh, I
Thank you.
have a question since we have
Tell me, Akhil.
some time. So yeah, so basically my background is not from Spring Boot and this one, right? I'm from like Node.js, so I have like eye level understanding and how products work and how to develop one.
Hmm.
So for me to transition into this Java Spring Boot, right? So
Hmm.
what will I be expect? So what will people be expecting from me, like from interviews perspective, like?
Okay. So from the perspective is first thing they say that whether do you have experience or not. Okay, that's fine. If you say that, yes, I have created multiple projects. Then what is happening? They will start firing the questions like why are we using controller? What is this controller? What is native query SQL? When to win? If we are using Spring Boot with Kafka, then how the particular application on hitting towards the Kafka and how Kafka is responding. That's the first use case. Second use case is like you said like you have experience over Node.js, right?
Yes, yes.
Yes. So then in the Node.js, what are we using? So first thing is if I say the difference between Next and Node is Next is for the UI, correct? If I'm not wrong. Node is for Node.js for the server side JavaScript we are using, correct?
So
Right.
basically next is like we can use these days, we can also use for backend as well and front end as well. Node
Hmm.
is basically completely for backend only.
Yeah, that is for server side JavaScript rendering, correct?
Yes, yes.
So same thing they expect to her. How is your Spring Boot, how the security is working, how the particular JAWS that you are implementing is working. So to cut everything is same. Whatever only the tech stack difference is there, and just in the inside the interview they will ask you about what is the reason behind at the rate controller or at the rate rest controller. When to use at the rate rest controller or when to use controller, how inside your application your Spring security was very good. How what are you using? Are you using basic or are you using JWT or Microsoft authentication language? So those type of Spring security related things might be asked, and then annotations, that is very important inside a Spring Boot. When to use request parameter, when to use path variable, when to use not blank, when to use at the rate email, when to use valid, when to use not valid, something like this. Okay, so that's why inside the Spring Boot, or I think Tanya has joined, right? So Tanya, can you tell me like what are the Spring Boot questions you are expecting inside the interview? What questions they have asked till now? Sorry, Tanisha, not Tanya. Tanisha, are you there?
Yeah,
So
yeah.
can
I
you tell
just
me?
joined back. Yeah, I
Okay,
actually left some was like,
no, no
uh,
problem. So actually, just tell me what are the Spring Boot questions you have faced by your interviewer?
okay. So I'll tell the yesterday's one, like what I they are in So yesterday there is a PwC interview that was walk-in. So that was actually Java full stack, but luckily they don't asked me much about the React. So like first thing the Spring Boot, they asked me like how we handle the I tell the project architecture, and then from that point, like when I talk about that token and thing like security layer, when I come to that, then he asks like how we handle the roles. So actually, in our project, there is Azure Entra ID where we map the role. So I tell that, and also he asks like Spring how we manage role. So has role, like Azure has role. That is one thing that just that was he wanted to like listen. So that was one thing from Spring Boot, and other thing. He asked about like REST API communication, like how we communicate between like our multiple services. So that is one thing, and also like basics Java question he asked mostly. Like in Java, actually he went like very much deeper, like in that abstraction and inheritance. Like after Java 8, whatever changes is there, like Java 8, he have asked thoroughly, like from starting to end.
So can we also like expect like something, multi-threading? So these are like core,
Yeah,
right?
yeah. Multi-threading actually. Yesterday he asked me like, I think मुझे एक्चुअली एग्जैक्टली याद नहीं आ रहा है. हाँ, एक क्वेश्चन किया था उन्होंने लाइक थ्रेड. जब भी हम लोग थ्रेड यूज करते तो हम लोग आइदर रनएबल इंटरफेस यूज करते हैं या फिर थ्रेड क्लास या फिर अभी एग्जीक्यूटिव सर्विस भी हम लोग यूज कर सकते हैं. बट हम लोग कुछ भी थ्रेड से हम लोग थ्रेड का जो मेथड है रन मेथड या फिर स्टार्ट मेथड, तो उस मेथड से वी कैन नॉट रिटर्न एनीथिंग. लाइक इफ वी वांट वी कैन प्रिंट बट वी कैन नॉट रिटर्न समथिंग लाइक रिटर्न स्टेटमेंट बिकॉज इट इज अ void, like return type is void. So how we can use return statement? So that is there is no like future and completable future where we have that supply async method. So that actually he wanted to like listen, but I couldn't tell that like supply async. I tell him like completable future is there, but supply async I like that was not a word.
Okay. And yeah, so I have one more question. So like so like I have no experience in Java, right? So I will be applying for experienced role. So how we have to tackle, like, only we just have to, should we lie, like, we have some experience, like, one or two, or, just, simply go be honestly and, like, and expect some interview calls, not an interview, but interview calls.
Okay. So, like, suppose you are applying to a bit senior level Java full stack. Na? Suppose you are applying 3+ experience level. Like the job role is 3+ years, for 3+ years. Then it is very much needed. Like you just know, don't if you know the concept now, if you know React, then it will be easy for you to learn the Java, because like if you are totally new, you are new to like this, then it will be time taking. But if you at least know the concept, then Java will not take much. And Java, there is mainly they focused on multi-threading, I will say, and Java 8. Like Java 8 is Java 8 also not everything, mainly the streams and the functional interface. And there is some conceptual question, like like abstract class is there and also interface is there. So earlier there was a huge difference between these two, but now it is like after Java 8, there is no such huge difference. But still, when we should use which one, like when you should use abstract class and when we should use interfaces, that is one common question.
Okay. So basically, like we in Java, we can expect like multi-threading and this object-oriented programming.
Right. Oops,
And in Spring, we'll be expecting like annotations, water annotations.
Yeah, actually, Spring, Spring, I think if you go for interview, na Spring, there is a direct question. Like Spring, na, you can like read it and you can just memorize it. Like you need to understand, but you don't need that much, very much situational. Like there is some situational question, but like Java, Spring is direct. Actually, they will firstly start to ask you like, what is this annotation or that annotation? That is direct question. Like that is one liner answer. So sometime like transactional, I haven't faced any time with transactional situation question, but a situational question can come in transactional. Like I have heard that.
Okay.
Okay, I think all clear. Everyone?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay,
The
so
problem
then
with technical is facing, I'm going to face the same because I'm also from different background and I'm just started learning that one. And I will be applying for any position which would be 3 4 years experience.
So actually, I just missed some part. Actually, sir, I left some. So
okay,
are
one
we?
second. Let me stop the recording. Okay, then you can
Mhm.
start conversation.
Mhm.
Yeah.